What's going on, dudes and dudettes? We're headed to the Warpstone Crater today for a free-for-all on Total Warhammer 2. And we're playing with SFO, rebranded from Steel Faith Overhaul, now called Grimhammer. But it's the same mod, it'll be a nice vehicle to let the Slayers of Karak Kadrin run wild. The Demon Slayers have come out to play. The elite of the elite, bound by oath to Mr. Ungrim Ironfist. No Bloodletters or Slaneshi Demon Kings for them to slap around yet, but there will be plenty of monsters to pit them against regardless, because a Star Dragon is flying overhead, the apex predator in Warhammer, ridden by Alistair the White Lion. And the Skaven and their Warpstone abominations, Rat Ogres and Doomwheels in tow, many of their number on the field today. And the Empire, a steampunk creation of fire and metal, and a witch hunter of the cult of Sigmar, rooting out heresy wherever it lies. And there's a lot of it on this battlefield today, with the Knights Panther also on the prowl. So, let's take a look at the Slayer and Vanguard Dawi build, shall we? Not your typical army composition with the dwarfs, but that's probably a good thing. We got a legendary Slayer hero, they're capped at 1, but the buffs they have can send them into the stratosphere in terms of damage output, and Demon Slayers can do a lot more than just banish beasts back to the warp. They hit like trucks against pretty much everything. And as this match started, I wanted to get into range really early on and take out all his skirmish troops with my rangers and my miners with blasting charges, but he deployed a little bit too far away, and so I'm going to have to close that gap with my stunty little Dawi feet, and I'll be a little bit slow on the uptake because we're not very fast. And for the Ratmen build, things are pretty traditional. Lord Skrolk, Doomwheel, Rat Ogres in the back, Storm Vermin to hold the line, and for the High Elves, no range firepower, interestingly enough. White Lions, Spearmen, and 2 Dragons, the Star and the Moon, about to blot out the Sun. So they've got a lot of aerial superiority, but not a lot of range firepower, because they actually have not a single range unit on the field. So the Slayers are in an awkward position. Pretty common in free-for-all, honestly. You want to backstab somebody else, but if you do, you're going to get backstabbed yourself. And the Crusading Knights of the Knights Panther will be moving in for the kill, and things are going to get kicked off real early as Ratty Orton and the Ogres of Clan Molder drop some RKOs on the heads of those Knights Panther, who do have a bonus force large, and a Chain Lightning will rip into the Vermintide in the middle as both lines close in for the kill. Steam Tank bulldozing its way through sewer rats just like it was made to do, spreading steamy goodness to the masses all across the sands of the Warpstone Crater, and perhaps melting some mangy fur and flesh along the way. Doomwheel getting in there as well, and the Vermintide will clash into the front of Faith, Steel, and Gunpowder as Curse of the Midnight Wind goes down on the Empire left flank. Doomwheel Warp Lightning arcing out, and the Moon Dragon has flown all the way across the crater, and this is where free-for-alls get absolutely mad, when you've got 3 or 4 factions all fighting in one single piece of combat. And look at that breath attack, carving a path of destruction through the flank of the Empire line, and routing those Skaven as well. And that just killed, my god, I think I killed 150 troops in one single cast. Dragon Breaths in Grimhammer are stanky. They will put you in the ground real quick if you're not careful, and I mean, that melted essentially 2 units right there. That was pretty impressive. So on the other side of the field, the Dawi of Karak Kadrin, the Slayer Keep, are getting ready to fight the Azure, and a Star Dragon Breath ripping forward now. Some Strawberry Milkshake right into the middle of the Gutter Runners with poison, and those things will take some damage as the Plague Monks from Lord Skrolk are summoned Pestilent Birth into the Carolburg Greatswords, a very famous legendary unit, the Regiment of Renown that we would have all liked to have seen in the Grim in the Grave DLC. And they are very powerful infantry carvers. They will blend you up nice and proper, and those Skaven are really not going to have any chance fighting against elite greatswords in close quarters combat. Even with their bonus force infantry, they are going to get run over here as they're summoned, and Carolburg greatswords will have a field day carving them up. So in the center, Volkmar the Grim popping his buffs. And over on this side, looks like the melee fight is going to begin in earnest here as the Rangers set up and begin firing into those White Lions, who do have that missile resist. I believe it's 20%. And the Azure Spearmen charging forward now. Demon Slayers into the thick of it. And they're going to be laying about with those gigantic rune-forged axes. And they are no joke in melee, man. They're not going to be fighting monsters right now, but it doesn't matter. They have like 12,000 HP, AoE attacks, huge weapon strength, and Legendary Slayer into the flank of the Azure Spearmen. Legendary indeed, my god, that was so badass. That was so cool. He's going to charge right into the middle of their formation as the Dwarf Warriors hold down in the center, and blasting charges go off everywhere. And the entire center of the Azure formation getting rent apart by flame, wreathed in fire, and just exploded. Super cool, and we're going to see a bunch of Rangers start focus firing on those high-value targets as the Lore Master of Hoeth Earthbloods everything in the middle. So we've got a Wither lowering the armor of the Caraber Greatswords and the Empire State Troops. Vermintide trying to push through. Another Chain Lightning from the Lore of Heaven's cast are going to hit on those regular Clan Rats, and they'll go down in droves, no question about it. But maybe ideal to wait a little bit until they're engaged in melee so they can't run away. Still going to get a ton of kills in that initial cast though. And here, Slayers going around the flank and trying to get into the back of the High Elf Spearmen while the Star Dragon and Alistair the White Lion circles overhead. So the Slayer are going to get into the back of those Spearmen, no problems whatsoever, but another breath attack and look at them disappear, evaporate in a torrent of blood. What the hell just happened? I think that one might be going into the Book of Grudges. Deleted from the game. Straight up deleted. I'm not sure I've ever seen a breath attack do that to a single unit. It's gone now. Entire Slayer unit, 1,000 gold, deleted from the game. Okay, not ideal at all. Might be hard to recover from that one. And Ungrim Ironfist will let his fury be known as he duels a Lore Master of Hoeth with throwing axes arcing overhead. Demon Slayers getting in there now, slicing stuff up. All Elgear Wazix, you know the drill, but it's nothing to lose your head over. And we're going to see the 11 remaining of Grimnir's Elite go wild when they see their brother decapitated. Straight Doom guy, straight rip and tear, sheer brutality. I think they do have AoE attacks, super high weapon strength, and, I mean, High Elf Spearmen, they're pansies. They're pansy knife eaters. They cannot take this kind of fight, and so they're going to lose their heads in response. Now, the Moon Dragon has landed in the back of the Karak Kadrin lines, and that is a difficult proposition for him. It's a beast. It's an absolute monster, no question about it, but with Slayers surrounding him, with the Rangers, Ulthar's Rangers, focus firing on him, and a bunch of Rangers firing with their crossbows as well, Moon Dragon took a lot of damage there. And Ungrim Ironfist will pop Red Ruin. Melee defense now down to 10, which is not ideal, but his melee attack is at 120, which is pretty absurd. So that is not the ideal way to use Ungrim, but might help him win the duel regardless. Star Dragon fighting a bunch of Clan Ashen Gunner Runners in the back, having a fun time snacking on them. And the duel is barely, I think, gonna go the way of Ungrim here. One attack pretty much might seal the deal, and the Lore Master will rout. But Ungrim took a lot of damage, and I will say, not the way you want to be using him. Much better against monsters. He has a bonus for large of 50 bonus when he uses his Axe of Dargo ability in SFO. It's gigantic. And maybe that's true in vanilla as well, I'm not 100% sure. Regardless, it's fantastic when you get him on top of a monster, but fighting a Lore Master of Hoeth with high armor and good melee stats, it's just not an ideal way to use him. So he took way more damage there than he should have. On this side, Silverhelms got a bunch of kills on routing units, but they're not under control right now, and Steamy Goodness going their way, killing a model at the front right of their formation, and then front left rather, and Volkmar the Grim in the center of everything, beating the crap out of the Vermintide, and Rat Ogres on their last legs will get charged in the rear, and they will rout. Looks like the Empire is going to pull that 1v1 out of the bag as the Dragons continue to harry the back lines of the Slayer Keep. So Ungrim Ironfist finally on target now, what he really should be fighting, and the Star Dragon bounding through their lines, but a bunch of Slayers there, and the Rangers are still firing in too. So Star Dragon, without support from healing from that Lore Master of Hoeth, not gonna want to stick around for too long, and Slayers are winning. Honestly, the Azur are a bit on the back foot right now. High Elves are getting beaten up, taken to Pound Town, and the Demon Slayers continue their carnage. They're just destroying everything they get their hands on. Their grubby little doughy hands are destroying everything they touch. And more routing, and I love it when you see them swing those axes. You'll see even White Lions, who would typically have higher mass than Azur Spearmen, I would think. They just go flying. I just saw one of them go flying over the top of the hill from that Moondragon charge. And I think at this point, Azur are gonna break, and Dragons will just go somewhere else, because they just cannot deal with the Slayers and what remains of the Karak Kadrin force. Well, I say that, but he's going in. Alistair the White Lion and that Star Dragon munching on those Rangers. And the Slayers will try to conglomerate around him and cut him to pieces, but the Pure Main Company are unbreakable in SFO, in Grimhammer, and even though they're on their last legs, they're still holding strong and will fight to the last model. But the Star Dragon and the Moon Dragon, I really do recommend at this point, go breath attack a big blob over on the other side of the battlefield, because there's nothing more here for you. Demon Slayers and Pure Main Company going strong now, and with a charge from the flank, I think that will finally be enough, and they're all going to start dropping. And the Pure Main Company, their last stand will happen, won't be enough. They're gonna go down. But in terms of points, overall points, remember, free-for-all is all about that, and I'm in last place. High Elves are in first, so even though I won that 1v1, we're still not winning. We're far away from winning. And so as the High Elves move to the other side of the battlefield, Moon Dragon land on top of the Witch Hunter, who will stand strong. And I believe that's that Masp coming into play. In Vanilla, he would have definitely gone flying, but they have knockdown resistance in SFO. And with a cannonball from the Steam Tank hitting the flank of that Moon Dragon, bonus for Large Knights Panther and Spearman charging in from the side, I don't think that Moon Dragon will be long for this world if it chooses to stay and fight. And getting kind of pinned down in place and taking a lot of damage on the verge of breaking. And the Witch Hunter is only 1 or 2 hits from death too. Warpstone Rock in the center, still giving off that nasty green glow, that sickly green glow, making people corrode and get all diseased and chaosy when they get close. But the Empire is in tatters at this point. The Dwarfs are relatively in tatters. The High Elves have nothing left except for a dragon, 2 dragons on slivers of HP. No one is having a good time at this point. All the armies are completely beaten up, severely depleted, and Alistair the White Lion now has but one choice: to fight the Karlberg Greatswords and take as many models as he possibly can down with them before he goes down himself. And he is 1 or 2 good steam shots away from going the way of the dodo, going straight up extinct. And Karlberg Greatsword, Spearman coming in from the flank, and looks like the Star Dragon. Oh wow, that shot missed barely. That skimmed right by him. And the Dwarfs, they'll be looking to close in for the kill, but they have a long way to run. So as the Star Dragon routes off the map, we're going to make a quick cut in a second here and wait for the Slayers of Slayer Keep and the Empire to reform. And here we go now. There was a dude there, not anymore. Red paste, red mist after the cannonball from the Steam Tank touches down. Knights Panther charging downhill, and that, wow, that was glorious. Right into the middle of the miners with blasting charges who have used all their explosive ammunition. And it's going to be a very brutal approach over open ground. Using the cliff could maybe block some of the shots from the Steam Tank and prevent it from firing, but can't put the entire army over on that side because it'll just give Volkmar more time to run over stuff with his chariot. So we need to just close into melee. Need to run and close that gap as quickly as possible, get in there and try to turn it, because they have all the fire superiority. Oh my god, that ricochet shot, that was so cool. Bounced off the ground and killed 5 or 6 dwarfs after it landed. But yeah, I mean, Steam Tank is gonna do way more damage than the Rangers possibly can with the remaining ammo they have. Ungrim and the Legendary Slayer and the Demon Slayers need to get in there and kill it. And they could get a lot of points by taking down Volkmar and that Steam Tank. But Knights Panther are gonna be free early on to use that Lance formation, charge, or rather Diamond formation, and charge into the center, into the teeth of the Dawi defense. And here we go now, Slayers into Swordsman, Demon Slayers up top, right next to Ungrim, and Ungrim's on slivers of HP himself, but he's got that Deathblow ability, and all these Slayers will be doing even better once they're low on HP. Demon Slayers into Spearmen, and this is a joke of an engagement. There is no way regular state troops can hold the line against them. Legendary unit, you're not going to stand in their path. They're going to get carved apart, but the Karlberg Greatswords might be able to. They have barely any health left. Again, everything is severely depleted, but Slayers are the only unit that are actually going to benefit from that, as one of them gets a backhand, a pimp slap from the Steam Tank. Legendary Slayer thinking about going in the Karlberg Greatswords, thinks better of it, and then charges in from behind against the Steam Tank, but gets knocked down as he charges from the rear. Cowboy Greatswords will end up losing that fight. The Giant Slayers, or the Demon Slayers rather, have been godlike this battle. Absolute monsters in melee. Everything that's been thrown in their path, they have destroyed, and they are still going strong. We're into 3rd place now. Looks like Skaven will take up 4th, and High Elves and Empire are still in the lead, with Cruzanob rather, leading the pack. So really, it's going to come down to who wins this fight. Ungrim Ironfist goes down to a quick backstab, a sneaky little backstab from the State Troop, and the Slayer King is dead. No longer able to fulfill the oath to his people. He will fulfill his Slayer oath, but the Steam Tank will try and tear out those Rangers and the Gutter Runners with poison. Volkmar the Grim coming in on top of that War Chariot of the Gods. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be routing for both sides. They really can't stand and fight against that kind of overwhelming firepower and melee prowess. But the Demon Slayers are into it. They are beginning to really show effects of all the wariness, all the destruction that's happened in this game. Their HP bar is slowly ticking down. Every charge from Volkmar, every charge from the Steam Tank, beginning to deplete them, but they're still in it, and they are unbreakable, and they will get better melee stats the lower they get. So, with the Nice Panther charging downhill into the flank of the Rangers and the Miners, that could be enough to send an entire swath of the Karak Kadrin army running, and they will, terror routed as Volkmar gets in too. But Big Dick Mohawk energy, never underestimate it. Demon Slayers getting swole, flexing those killing muscles once again. Can anything stop their rampage? Everything that has been thrown their way has been rolled over by those magical attacks, rune-forged axes. It's been a brutal affair. It's been a torrid, brutal, bloody affair. But Volkmar the Grim and that Steam Tank are not going to be easy to bring down. And those Slayers are really showing quite a lot of battle damage right now. They have taken a beating, a big beating. But the Nice Panther are getting in there. Demon Slayers really fast, scooting and shooting, trying to get into range of the Steam Tank, but they'll turn around. That's probably the right call, because if they want to bring down that Nice Panther unit, they're going to have to attack them. And with Legendary Slayer in tow, those two units will be able to kill the Cav. And that's going to leave Volkmar and the Steam Tank and a handful of Dawa units left, and it's going to come right down to the wire. Again, Empire is in the lead in terms of points, but it's irrelevant. It's whoever wins this 1v1 now will win the game. Because whoever's last man standing will get that 35, 4,000 points, whatever bonus at the end, and all the points for killing what remains of the enemy. And it'll definitely turn whoever wins this 1v1 into the winner of the entire free-for-all. So Steam Tank trying to keep some distance as Volkmar keeps using that Pimp Chariot, rolling over the Demon Slayers over and over and over again. He does have regen with that Jade Griffin. The Talisman will keep him in the fight pretty well into the flank of the Slayers, and the Steam Tank still firing and pulling away just in time. And the angry Mohawk men trying to close the gap, but right now they're going to have a really hard time doing it. Steam Tank is just a little bit too fast. It is immune to Vigor in SFO, so it will not be slow like it would be in Vanilla at this point. It would normally be exhausted, but that Steam Gun is shredding those Slayers as they try to get closer, and they are losing ground every second that passes. But it's not going to kite indefinitely. It doesn't want to, it doesn't need to. What it needs to do is pin them in place, use that thing like a chariot, maybe get some more space, let Volkmar charge in, get some more shots in with the Steam Gun, maybe one or two more with the cannon. But the Demon Slayers and the Legendary Slayer touching down into the flank of the Steam Tank, and all that AP and Boisterous Large is really going to make its impact felt. And as a couple more Slayers go down, they are really getting absolutely torn apart. In Melee 2, one more attack will explode it, and the Steam Tank is gone, which leaves Volkmar in a sea of red. Literally and figuratively, lots of blood around him, but lots of red Karak Kadrin dwarfs surrounding him as well. What remains? Couple Rangers, couple Slayers, that's pretty much it. Volkmar has about a third of his health left, still regenning, but will it be enough? This is going to come down right to the wire. Legendary Slayer and some other Slayers. One of them just got, oh my god, are those like cannibal predatory horses? They just ate that Slayer. They ate it alive. They ripped its head off. That was insane. And with that, with those horrifying horses that apparently Volkmar's using like some chaotic breed that I wouldn't even expect the Cult of Sigmar to ever use, he's gonna pull it out. And the Empire is gonna win by the skin of their teeth. Volkmar had almost no health left, but the Empire will win and we're gonna fall short. And Kruzanob will end up taking it by almost 8,000 points, but again, Dwarves would have won if they'd been the last men, last dwarfs, last Dawi standing. So, those Demon Slayers, over 200 kills, pretty absurd. I mean, they just kicked ass that game. It was insane. Legendary Slayer, really good. Infantry Blender, good Hero Hunter and Lord Hunter. Definitely made a big impact for me. Ungrim was misused, without question. He ran into a Lord Master of Hoeth and into the Pure Main Company, took a lot of damage that he didn't need to. If I'd been a little bit more cautious with him, might have been able to pull this one out if he had been there in the late game to fight Volkmar. And the Skaven, Doomwheel did well. The Empire Steam Tank obviously got 200 kills. The Star Dragon and the Moon Dragon were absolutely ginormous this game. Like over 200 kills for each. Volkmar got almost 300. Witch Hunter over 100 with that gun. And the Celestial Wizard, 96 kills. Steam Tank over 200. So, really fun battle, really thematic. I loved playing that Vanguard and Slayer build for the Dawi, super fun. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you want to see some more Grimhammer and SFO in the near future, let me know, and I'll be bringing you some more free-for-all and Total Warhammer 2 content and some other stuff very soon. See you next time.